Hello and welcome everyone to my channel. This demonstration will be provided on the Procreate app using an iPad. However, you can follow along with any drawing tablet you have or just a plain and simple brush with paint. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Step number 1, we're going to create a new canvas and we're going to go with 12 inches by 12 inches. Step number 2, we're going to download the color palette from the description box below. And step number 3, we're going to start with the sky. Next, we're going to drag and drop a navy blue color into the background. It's the 7th color in the middle row. Then with the acrylic brush, I use a side-to-side motion and I fill it in with the ocean blue color, which is the 3rd color on the middle row. I adjust the blur to about 10%. Step number 4, we're going to be working on the mountains and the trees. We're adding a layer on top of this, so this is your 2nd layer. And then with that dark blue color that we first used, I'm etching in the 1st mountain range. I dragged and dropped that color. With the lighter color that's next to that, so that should be the 6th color on the middle row. I'm just lightly putting in some highlights in the mountain. You can do whatever you feels right to you. We're going to be using the smudge tool right now, and we're just going to lightly kind of feather those points out. Starting a 3rd layer, we are going to take the next darkest blue color that we have, and we're going to etch in the next mountain range. We're going to drag and drop that color. So this is going to be the first line of trees that we're going to be adding in. I grabbed a blue color, it's the 3rd from the end on the middle row. And I am very messily putting in some trees. It doesn't have to look completely perfect. This is kind of an animated picture, so it doesn't have to look super real. If you want to put in the time, you totally can. Here I just drag that color in, and then I duplicate that layer so that we don't have to do it again. I change the color on it to the last dark blue color in the middle row. And then when you click on it, it gives you an option to flip, and we're going to flip horizontal. So it doesn't exactly match up with the other tree line. Step number 5, we're going to work on the ground and more trees. So we're adding another layer on top of this for the ground. I pick an orange color on the palette and I drag and drop. When you click on that layer, you can select Alpha Lock on the left-hand side. And then I grabbed an acrylic brush and we're going to paint directly on this layer with a dark blue, and we're going to add shadowing around the edges. We're going to be blurring this layer using the blur function to about 30%. So we add another layer. I'm on layer number 8. So this is where we're going to be adding more trees to the forefront of the painting. I go into the brush selection, into inking, and we go Baskerville, which is the 2nd brush selection. We're going to put in a straight line to use as a guide while we're sketching out the tree. And here I'm just kind of roughly putting in some branches. Keep in mind it's a spruce tree, so kind of the messier the better. We are going to be moving this tree around after, so placement isn't really that important right now. Once you have your shape of or outline of your tree and you like it, we're going to infill it by dragging and dropping that color. And here with that arrow tool on the top left hand side of the bar, you can click it and you can move it to the desired location. Here I copy and paste instead of doing the tree over and over again, and I just stick it in a few places. You can do whatever you feel looks good. You can manipulate the size of it too. You can flip it vertically, or rather horizontally, just so they don't all look so uniform. So this little tree in front is going to be the tree that's going to be closest to this bonfire, which I will eventually draw. So we want a little bit of light reflecting on it from the bonfire itself. So here I add just different hues of orange and then a little bit of yellow on the side. And then I kind of lighten the tree up and then we're going to blur it. I picked to about 6%. Step number 6, we're going to focus on the tent, the fire, and then the stars. We're almost there. So I grabbed a bright orange color on the top row. I'm going to roughly be etching in a tent. You can do any kind of style of tent you want. There's no rules. You can do whatever you feel would look best. And then I'm going to drag and drop that color and I'm going to fill in the main body of the tent. And then a little bit of a darker color towards the front of the tent. So that'd be furthest away from the bonfire or the campfire. I picked a yellow color and we're just going to be adding some highlights. Keep in mind I alpha locked this before, so we're just painting on the tent itself. We want the lightest colors to be towards the left and the darkest colors to be on the right. So I added another layer. I wanted to add some shadowing underneath the tent and then where that opening is. So I just lightly kind of feather in a shadow. And remember, we put this layer beneath or underneath the tent layer. Now I went back to the tent layer and I added a few more shadows to the tent. So I removed the alpha lock because we want to be drawing on the whole image now. And I added straight lines using that yellow color. And those are kind of the strings that would be holding up the tent. Layer number 14. Added a new layer, and this is where I'm going to be drawing in the campfire with that inking brush. Drag and drop that color in, and then I picked a brown color. I kind of just made some shapes that kind of would look like logs. I drag and drop that color and fill in those spots. I picked a darker brown so in contrast, and I just kind of accentuated some spots in there, added more shadows, made it look like logs. With that orange color, I'm just adding a little bit more detail to the fire here. All right, so this is where we're going to be adding in stars. So I go to the luminescence section on the brush library, and I picked the flare brush. I make it really, really small, and I kind of dotted in some stars here. You want it to be very random, otherwise it will look fake pretty quickly here. And you want a variety of sizes of stars as well. So I went in and I added a bunch of little tiny dots as well. And this is it. So this is the final product. I have a second video coming out of how we can put this onto t-shirts. So please follow along for that. Please like and subscribe, and thank you.